easy queso recipe. I got it from my mom a few years ago. I don't know where she got it from. This is how I've been keeping my recipes lately. I do have a new book that I just purchased. Can't wait to get all my recipes in there. So this is the Big Dipper. All you need is chili, rotel, velvetta, green onions, cayenne pepper, which I did not check and see if I had any before I went to the store. So I do not. So mine is not gonna have the cayenne pepper, but it is really yummy. You don't need it, obviously. There's so many queso recipes out there. So I will have this linked down below so you guys can check it out if you want to. But basically you just mix everything in the saucepan, let it melt, and voila. Okay, I've got all of the ingredients in the saucepan heating up. Quick tip, if you cut up the velvetta into chunks, it will melt faster. So that's what I've done, and then I've got the chili, the rotel, and the green onions in there, and I'm just going to let it melt and keep stirring as needed. All right, queso is done. Look at that. All the cheese is melted. Now I'm just gonna let it cool off a little bit, that way it's not too hot for the kiddos, and we get to munch on it. My favorite chips are the scoops for queso, just because I like to fill them up with all that cheese in the middle there. So I've got my scoops ready, and the queso is done. Hope you guys enjoy it. Okay, time for the little smokies, and they are done in the crock pot. All you need are smokies, ketchup, brown sugar, Worcestershire, I don't even know how to say that word, sauce, and barbecue sauce. So here's my items. The brands seriously do not matter. Yeah, I mean, the brands do not matter. This is just what I had on hand. My husband is the one who picked out the barbecue sauce, so it's just whatever you guys have. There's tons of different kinds of little smokies out there. We just got Eckrich. So I'm gonna put all of this in the slow cooker, and it's just going to cook for 2 hours on high or low for 4. Okay, I've got everything in there mixed together, and I'm just gonna wait 2 hours. Every now and then I'll stir it just so it doesn't get stuck to the bottom or anything like that. But, and if you're making this for a large crowd, I would definitely double it. This does not make a whole lot. There's 6 in my family, so we just need the 1. Okay, little smokies are done. So good. Okay guys, so next we're going to make a dip, and this dip, actually the recipe comes from my husband Mark. He ate it quite often growing up, so I have just taken it over, and we've made it a few times, especially for parties. It's called the Hawaiian Rolls dip. All it is shredded cheese, green onions, ham, sour cream, lemon juice, and ranch dip mix. So the Hawaiian comes in with the King's Hawaiian rolls. You could either, you know, just dip it and eat it like that, or actually make yourself a little sandwich with a dip in between. That's how Mark likes to eat it.
That's right.
So I'm gonna get this mixed up, that way you guys can see what it looks like. Okay, there's the Hawaiian rolls dip. It's seriously so good and super easy. You're just mixing everything together. Okay guys, next is gonna be the glazed kielbasa and pineapple bites. Super easy again. You just need toothpicks, kielbasa, pineapple chunks, teriyaki sauce, sweet chili sauce, honey, and pineapple juice. Now, again, second recipe. This is what happens when I'm rushed and I try to do this on a holiday. But I am completely out of the sweet chili sauce, but that's fine. It's just not gonna have that sweet chili taste, I guess. I still have the teriyaki and the honey, so it's gonna taste okay for us, but I do recommend using that because it does give it a little bit extra. So I'm gonna go ahead and set these up, and that way you guys can see what they look like. I have my oven preheating for 425. Here's my baking sheet lined with the parchment paper, and I'm just going to chop that and stick it all together on the toothpicks, and then kind of glaze that over it and bake it. Okay, the kielbasa pineapple bites are ready to put in the oven. Oven is ready, and I'm going to cook them for about 18 minutes. Alright guys, here's the kielbasa pineapple bites all done and ready to munch on. So yummy. This is my absolute favorite salsa recipe. So good. Called Salsa Fresca. Again, it came from my mother. I'm not sure where she got it from. I've made some changes along the way to this recipe. It's really just what you like. The majority is tomatoes, jalapenos, and then green pepper and green onions, and pretty much you can use what you want. There is cilantro in there, some chili powder, oregano, salt and pepper, canola oil, and you can use garlic salt or garlic powder. I am going to use garlic powder this time, but you know, pretty much it's whatever you want. My husband stacked those tomatoes, just to let you guys know. But it's super easy. All you do is chop everything up, put it in a bowl, and mix in your seasonings. Now, the recipe that I'm going to put down below, I would put in the seasoning and then taste it, because you might want a little bit more. I always add extra of something. So pretty much just to taste. Okay guys, here is the salsa fresca, and it is really good. It tastes better if you let it chill for a little bit. All the flavors interacting with each other get nice and cold. So I'm gonna pop it in the freezer, or not the freezer, in the refrigerator for a little while. And then I'm gonna give it a try and see if it needs any more seasonings. Most of the time I always add a little extra garlic salt if I'm using garlic salt, and chili powder, just a tad bit, and that really helps it after it's been in the refrigerator for a while. So hope you guys like it. Okay guys, before I get to the next recipe, appetizer, I wanted to share. So I've got 5 going already. Some are still cooking, some are in the refrigerator. And it's time for a glass of wine before I start anymore. My feet hurt, I'm starting to get tired in the kitchen. So this is, Mark and I tried this at Thanksgiving, and it is super, super good. Only if you like alcoholic juice, basically, because it's really sweet. So I just wanted to share that. All right, next appetizer I'm making is another really simple. These are all really, really simple. They are caprese bites. All it is cherub tomatoes, fresh basil, and mini mozzarella balls, and you cut the tomatoes in half. You know, put them on the toothpicks with the mozzarella and the basil, and if you want, normal caprese is served with balsamic vinegar. My kids don't like it. I like it, but I'm not going to add it on this time. So just a little side note, if you guys like it, it is really good if you drizzle it over the top. So let me go ahead and put these together for you guys. All right, here's the caprese bites. I think they look so pretty on this white plate. Some of the toothpicks are falling over, but if you do have balsamic vinegar, just drizzle it over the top and you are ready to go. Okay guys, here are the ingredients for the next appetizer. Another pretty easy one. This one is ham and cheese pinwheels. Now I do not use the puff pastry dough. I use crescent roll, which is right there, Dijon mustard, ham, and Parmesan cheese. That is all you need for these. You can use the puff pastry dough. It's just really hard to find at my grocery store, so I've been using the crescent, and it's really good with that as well. So all we're gonna do is roll out the pastry, put some mustard on it, then place the ham, then top with the cheese, and then roll it up. You can put it in the refrigerator for 30 minutes. I do that sometimes, depending on how long it takes you to get everything put together. It just firms it up so it's easier to cut. You don't really have to do that. It's just a little bit more messy if you're in a crunch for time. And then you're just gonna slice it, put it on the pan, and bake it at 375 for 15 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it all put together and then show you what it looks like before I cook it. Okay, so obviously at the end it gets really thin, and I would definitely double if you're making for a party. I mean, I'm just making 1 batch because it's just for my family of 6. So I'm gonna pop these in the oven for 15 minutes and then I'll show you when they're all done. Okay, here are the pinwheels all cooked. There are 2 missing because I had sticky little fingers grabbing them off the pan, but they are really good. They are good right out of the oven, or oh geez, or they're really good cold as well. So you could definitely make these ahead of time, pop them in the refrigerator, and just pull them out when it's party time, or straight out of the oven. Okay, we've got our next recipe, and this is for cowboy caviar. It is not only a good appetizer or, you know, dish to bring to parties, but Mark and I have actually had this as our lunch a couple weeks. So if you guys watch my monthly grocery hauls or weekly hauls, you know that each week I make the same thing for us to eat 5 days. It's just easier that way, especially for planning and prepping and all that. So this is just one of the things that we do eat for lunch with some crackers. It's just really easy. You basically just throw all the ingredients together, let it chill for about an hour so the flavors get all infused together and all that good stuff, and it is just really good. So we've got some salt, sugar, chili powder, and white wine vinegar with the olive oil. That's kind of like the dressing. Then a can of black beans, black-eyed peas, sweet corn. We've got cilantro, red and green bell peppers, a red onion, and this is a pound of Roma tomatoes. All right. And there's the recipe. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this all together and then show you what it looks like. Okay, here is what the cowboy caviar looks like all mixed up. It is seriously one of the best salsas that I've had. It's really, really good. It's just a different take on it. It's more sweet than spicy, and I love the corn and the beans in it. Little side note, I have had my herb scissors for probably about 3 to 4 months, and I can't even believe I ever cut cilantro or parsley or basil, anything, with a knife before. I am in love with these things. Oh my gosh, especially when you have to cut a whole bunch. It just, these make it so much faster. So if you guys do not own these, I would definitely invest in some herb kitchen scissors. I got them from H-E-B. So they weren't that much. I can't remember. It was a few months ago. I want to say like no more than $10, if even that. But just a little side note there. Here is the cowboy caviar. Give it a try. It's really, really good. So the next recipe, we're getting to the end here, is spinach dip. This is probably my absolute favorite. I love this one. And it is, again, super easy to make. Here's the recipe. I'll have it down below. But it's just a package of chopped spinach, thawed and drained as best as you can. Sour cream, water chestnuts, green onions. You actually only need 3 of them. You are not going to use the whole bunch. Some mayo, and then this is the packet with all your extra seasoning and stuff in it. And you basically just mix this all together, let it chill, get nice and cold, probably about 2 hours, and then eat it with crackers or bread. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it all together so you guys can see what it looks like. Okay, here's the spinach dip all mixed together. I'm gonna pop it in the refrigerator for probably about 2 hours. It just helps get it a little bit more thick. It is pretty soupy right now. Well, I guess not soupy, but it's very light and fluffy, I'll call it. But keeping it in the refrigerator will, you know, get the sour cream and mayo kind of more of a thick consistency. And it is really good on like French bread, like a baguette. But I didn't buy a baguette since I had all those Hawaiian rolls for the Hawaiian roll dip. So I'm gonna try it with that. I have never used the Hawaiian rolls with this dip. And then I did buy some crackers too. So I'll see how that tastes, and I'll let you guys know in the description if I did like the Hawaiian rolls in this dip or not. Crackers are definitely really good with this, if you did not want to go the bread route. Okay, last but definitely not least, this is actually a recipe that was originally found from Paula Deen. It is sweet chicken bacon wraps. Another, obviously, I'm sticking with the theme of easy to put together appetizers. This one does take a little bit longer just because of the cooking time. So all you need is bacon, chicken, chili powder, and brown sugar. Now, the recipe that I have calls for chicken breasts, but I just like chicken tenders. They're easier to cut into little 1-inch cubes, which is what you need to wrap the bacon around. So, to each their own. I'm just showing you guys what I like to use. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these all together. You basically just chop up the chicken, wrap it in bacon, roll it in a brown sugar and chili powder mixture, and then stick it with a toothpick and bake it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put them together and let you guys see what they look like. Guys, I've got all the sweet chicken bacon wraps all wrapped up and ready to cook. The oven is at 350. I'm gonna pop them in for about 35 minutes because I like to get my bacon as crispy as possible. and I wrapped them in the brown sugar and chili powder mixture. Then I did have a little bit of extra, so I kind of just dumped it on top just to get a little bit more seasoning on there. So I'm gonna let them cook and then I'll show you what they look like afterwards. Alright you guys, the wraps, the bacon chicken wraps are done. Another quick tip on these, I would, as soon as you can handle touching them, I know they're gonna be super hot, but I would get them out onto a plate or whatever serving platter you're going to use, and then immediately rinse out these dishes, because if you wait too long, the brown sugar chili powder glaze is going to get really hard on the bottom there, and it is a pain in the butt to clean after the fact. So my husband can definitely attest to that. Dishwashing is definitely my least favorite chore, so I try to get him to do it as much as possible, and he's washed many pans from making these and he absolutely hates it. So try to get them cleaned out as soon as possible. If you guys, so this is the last appetizer. If you guys liked all these appetizers, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I do post every day. If you guys have any suggestions on other videos you would like me to do, cooking wise or anything like that, let me know down in the comments. Also, let me know what your favorite appetizer is. I'm always on the lookout for new recipes to try. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.